Background. Thought crimes. Thought crimes. Thought crimes. Thought crimes. Thought crimes.
Like Babylon and generation B8 with clean sense, uncommon, can you see straight? Freeze frames by the blocks in the deep state, deep fake DNA. I'm mobbing with the think tank. You on the block with the guards where the beats done. What makes it loud for a law? Get your beat stung. Freeze frame, make it hard for bombers roll through. That hating energy get barbecue beef bump. You work a third every day to get the shame. That was out just like the murderers and rapists that you claim. So we burn a little sage, then we raid in your spot.
Down, nigga, get your motherfucking ass down. What that motherfucker doing at fuck, nigga?
Pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, slow crime, slow crime, pull crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, slow crime, slow crime, pull crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, slow crime, slow crime, pull crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, slow crime, slow crime, pull crime. Hey, my nigga, I ain't hating. My nigga, I ain't lazy. But I know everything that they got come from straight. So why you tryna give me occupation? My nigga, I ain't hating. Nah, and my nigga, I ain't lazy. But I know hoagies and some cold-blooded killers. Right, some thieves, so why should I be patient?
I said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, show crime, show crime, pull crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, show crime, show crime, pull crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, show crime, show crime, pull crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, show crime, show crime, pull crime, pull crime. Hey, my nigga, I ain't hating. And my nigga, I ain't lazy. But I know everything that they got come from straight. So why you tryna get me occupation? My nigga, I ain't hating. Nah, and my nigga, I ain't lazy. But I know hoagies and some cold-blooded killers. Right, some thieves, so why should I be patient?
Warning. Federal Communications Commission has determined the following content to be emotionally harmful. Snowflakes should not view this content under any circumstances, even if supervised by a G.I. Joe, Navy SEALs, Army vet, or someone with good common sense. The views and opinions expressed, including the depictions of persons of color, corrupt politicians, white people with or without a tan, haters who have yet to brush their teeth typing angrily in the comment section with hot breath syndrome, do not reflect any official policy or position of the U.S. government. This program contains graphic language, dark comedy, unique intelligence, creativity, a high credit score, and high blood pressure when triggered. This program has also been accused of racism, violence, misogyny, mansogyny, feminism, MGTOWism, defacement of celebrities, and of course, being a bully. Welcome to Thought Crimes.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Thought Crimes. This is your girl, Sincere, and I'm here with...
Yo, what's up, everybody? Good morning. This is your man, P. Solo, back in the building once again. You guys know what time it is. It's time for us to get back to work, folks. Let's get to the money. Let's get to work. Folks, let's get to our prayers, too, by the way. Hallelujah.
Also,
let's pray over this wonderfully corrupted nation.
Also, shout out to OG Lady with the super chat. Also, happy birthday to your daughter as well. 18th birthday.
Shout out to OG Lady.
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday.
Oh, I was letting you do your thing, Sid. Go
I
ahead.
did. That's what it is.
All right.
I guess a little sneak peek. Also to the Village Brother, thank you as well. To the super chat, we will be listening to the new Erykah Badu. There's a lot of music that we got to get to. Don't worry, we're going to get to it eventually. And also, I want to give a shout out to all the people who have been helping their communities as well. Keith Lee, as well, what he did with the people in Indiana. Gary, Indiana, shout out to him, providing food and clothing and being out there and really putting his money where his mouth is in actions. And also Brandy Kane in the building, always taking care of the people of Crenshaw, Africatown, her and Billion. They're definitely the MVPs and they do a lot of work out there. And then also, shout out to all the producers out there. We got DJ For Real. We got DJ London on the track. And also shout out to Hersey. We got their website now, is also in the chat and is in the description box. So if you want to hear Hersey's music, if you want to support them, 100% independent and they own their music, you could go to the website and give them support.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so what we're going to be talking about here today is we're going to be talking about a little bit of the Kushner brothers, right? You know, they're making headways, and I want to use this as an opportunity trying to kind of exemplify what we've been talking about. Cindy and I, we're going to be using this as an opportunity to show you guys how the game is ran. Also, shouts out to Ariel. Ariel said Jared bought EA along with the Saudis, a gaming company that has notorious and predatory microtransaction practices. RIP to Mass Effect. Josh with Bob Iger bought the Lakers. Luka sadly won't be winning a ring. I wouldn't put that on the back end of it. We'll get into that too, by the way, because at the end of the day, the NBA is a business, folks, and people do pay for championship rings. Now, what do I mean by that? Does that necessarily mean like, oh, I bought and paid off the refs, despite the NBA burying stories about notorious referee gambling, illegal scandals, even involving players? No, not just simply, guys, let my guy win. No, I'm talking about when you see, like, for instance, with the Philadelphia right now, the recent acquisition of LeBron James. And LeBron James said he wanted to win a chip. And we saw that with the Lakers, the bubble ring, as everybody calls it. And that's just what goes on in general. This is when we talk about player mobility. People are looking to buy as much as they can into a ring. But we're going to break this down concerning the Kushner brothers, because they do have a very interesting history. People brag about some of the other dynamics when we highlight rappers and washed up rock and rollers. They're visible. We can see them in their all of their little troubles that they do. But behind the scenes, like I tell you all the time, nobody moves more gangster than the execs.
Well, Jeannie Buss also has came out. There's been some articles and sources saying that she says she's not giving up the Lakers, allegedly. She said that her siblings had undercut her and tried to sell it off to Josh Kushner, who is the brother of Jared Kushner. And then also, yes, Bob, who was originally running the ship with Disney. So we'll continue to check up on this. I mean, most of the reports said that they did indeed fully bought the Lakers. Jeannie Buss, sources coming out saying she's not happy and that they don't really have the sale completely. So we'll see what happens, and we're going to keep paying attention to the story. But yes, the Kushners are trying to continue to have their corporate reach. They have their fingers in almost everything, especially Jared, who's married to Ivanka Trump, which is Trump's daughter. He has a great relationship with the Saudis. He also has percentages in Skims and in certain hip-hop companies and brands and tech companies. And he's also been very favorable with the Trump administration and has been a part of a lot of key policies as well, even when it comes to foreign affairs. So he also want to turn the Gaza Strip into a resort, and they had a plan on what they want to do with casinos and all this other stuff. And pertaining to the gambling that Prince is talking about, you know, Prince ran into someone who was Israeli, and he told Prince that...
Now you're gonna have these people thinking I'm compromised somewhere.
No.
They said he met with his handler.
No. We wouldn't be making this content if we had handlers. But when he was talking to this guy that he did not know, he just randomly started talking. But eventually the Israeli guy told Prince that the... like Zionists and Jews, they run the gambling rings. Like, they run the underground gambling. And when he said the Russians, the prostitutes, and then he said, which Bill Gates got in trouble with that because in the Epstein files, you know, they said he was paying Russian prostitutes cheaply. And then, he said the Arabs, the illegal arm dealing.
Yeah, the guy, he broke it down. He told me it's a thing. I'm always running to gangsters, like, or former hitmen and shit from different countries. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, as far as this guy goes, he was breaking down the rackets that go on in Israel, and he talked about, you know, you have different sets of the mafia. You know, from our perspective, you always have people that just say, oh, you know, it's just Jewish people there. But he said no, he's a bunch of different people that are there, and then he came from the underground circuit. So he said, I was out in the streets. So, you know, he says, one thing, they'll shake your hand on it with the casino rackets, you know, let people get deeply into debt. And if you can't pay it and you try to gyp them, you may get a magnetic bomb slid up under your car while you're looking at a pretty girl on the back of a motorcycle in Israel. That's what he said. And so he was also breaking down what was going on with Netanyahu and just a whole thing about, you know, this being able to be a war president, to be able to stay in there permanently. And so that ties into the grander scheme here. And I want to go back to something that Sim brought up just to clarify, because I don't want to lead in any confusion or haziness or vagueness. What's going on with Jeannie Buss right now is that Jeannie Buss has been trying to actively block the trade in court. Now, it says here siblings...
because she claimed that her siblings were trying to undercut her, yeah.
Yeah, it says 5 of the 6 siblings, 5 of the 6 Buss siblings, Johnny, Jim, Janie, Joey, and Jesse, voted to sell the family's remaining 17.8% stake to the Josh Kushner, Bob Iger group. They involved a tag-along clause from a prior agreement, which would net the siblings over $2 billion combined, roughly $370 million each. Now, I want to say something real quick. We know overall culturally that the Lakers franchise is trash. It's been driven into the ground. You know, we don't need to kind of walk and skate around it. It's been trash. All right. One of the real reasons why the Lakers franchise overall has been pretty bad is because the Buss siblings have been fighting constantly. They've been fighting constantly, arguing over positions of power, things of that nature. So it looks like this is still the case here. But anyway, it says roughly $370 million each. They even released a statement claiming the family had decided to exit gracefully. Now, of course, y'all know Jeannie has always been out there fighting her siblings. It says here, Jeannie Buss refused and sued. It says here, Jeannie Buss did not vote to sell and fiercely opposes the transaction. Her attorney filed a 97-page petition in Los Angeles Superior Court to completely block the sale. The vote was devious. This is what Jeannie claims. Her siblings intentionally kept her in the dark to create a public illusion that the deal was finalized.
Right. That's why I said, earlier at the beginning of the show that Jeannie never gave the keys to the kingdoms to Josh and also to Bob. People ran in the media with that because the Kushners have so much power, and Bob himself.
And you remember the siblings, they started the campaign for it too.
Right, and there were allegations of blackmailing and other things, but Jeannie never said she signed on for the Lakers to be her percentage to be sold off, and that's what led to the confusion. This is why I said earlier that her siblings tried to undercut her, and right now she's fighting back. So we'll see what happens, because a lot of times this happens in media where stories will be ran that a company has already bought, like Paramount partnership, or seizing Warner Brothers, and that hasn't gone all the way through yet. They are also having some issues in California. The Attorney General is not happy with the Ellisons. Even he claimed that the Ellisons were purposely leaking confidential information pertaining to the case and the conversations with the Attorney General. So, they're in hot water. But a lot of times publications will rush forward to make it look good. They'll say Paramount has already bought Warner Brothers, or they'll say the Kushners, or Josh Kushner and Bob has already bought the Lakers. Then you'll see Stephen A. Smith. He'll come down and say that's a great deal, right? And this is to cause a lot of mayhem publicly and to put more pressure on anybody who still is saying no.
Violation of a 2017 court order. It says here a prior legal. So, again, this is also just to say this said. When I said the confusion, I don't want the chat just because people, they kind of saying different things in chat. So what we're going to be doing, we're just going to clarify some things. This is how we get to the Kushner brothers. And we're also going to be talking about the daddy too, Charlie, because again, everybody's, I can't stand the Kushner. Again, it's all about what the father set up in these circuits here. As we can see, there seems to be a lot of daddy-son dynamics that typically go on in these corporate gangster cabals, all right? Just like what Sin is bringing up about the Ellisons, father and son, dynamic plastic surgery duo, all right? So it says here, a violation of a 2017 court order, a prior legal settlement explicitly mandates that the family trust must take all actions necessary to ensure Jeannie remains the controlling owner / governor of the Lakers. The 15% rule under NBA rules, a controlling owner must maintain at least a 15% personal or trust equity stake in the team. If the siblings sell the trust's 17.8% stake, Jeannie is legally forced out of her job as Lakers governor. So, with Succession and some of these other shows that we see a lot of times, and I'm going to be honest with y'all, corporations, or if you see families like the Buss family, it's our modern day version of royalty. And I'm not saying they're not my royalty, they're not Sin's royalty.
I was
but
like,
I'm just
I don't know,
saying,
that's kind of shooting far.
No, it's not though.
Like,
just in general, when we're talking about power and money, and I'm talking about a royal class. Like you've seen it historically, even in Europe. You've seen brothers and sisters. You've seen family members murk each other. That goes on today. Family members set each other up. Billionaires' helicopters mysteriously dropping out the sky. This is where you get into this quote-unquote hypothetical elitism or elite class. Now, with Jeannie Buss in this situation, of course, she's still fighting this in court. But concerning Josh Kushner, now, you guys know Josh Kushner. If you're not familiar with him, he has always been marketed as, quote-unquote, the good brother between the Kushners, because Jared Kushner has overtly, worn the mantle of a villain. He's not the most personable individual. He doesn't really care about a bunch of emotions, kind of like a cyborg, to be honest with you. He's talked about turning, Gaza into a hotel front. People have cursed at him. He has not blinked an eye. Josh Kushner, on the other hand, he's kind of been marketed as the protagonist from American Pie. He talked about how, democratic sensibilities has shaped his direction in life. He's talked about, I care about the environment, and the Democrats love him. All right. And this is what Senator was talking about, where, while people are screaming about the right, the far right, and then there's Jared Kushner, we told you guys, like, for the most part, any of these billionaires, both parties are friends with them behind the scenes, or at least they will serve them as their royal class behind the scenes. And that's what you traditionally see right now with Josh Kushner.
Yeah, I mean, with the pyramid, like, sports fans may think of them as royalty, but in the pyramid scheme, like, the Buzz family is considered small fries. If you talk about the overall global financial infrastructure, which is why Josh feels like and Bob feel like they can try to bully them. But they are, to your point, for the sports world, considered to be a well-known family historically as well. The whole story with Jeannie Buss' father and Magic Johnson and the whole L.A. Lakers story. That what was the show on HBO? The one they did, it was on HBO?
It slips my mind right now. I watched the first season, and I didn't make it. I think they had a second season. Yeah, it's kind of like in rap music. You see how everybody keep bragging about, like, the Jay-Z, Beyonce, but when you get into these other grander spaces, people are worth $16 billion. And some folks are worth $500 billion. Now, remember, on Stated, we're off record with the Rothschilds. They were labeled trillionaires decades ago.
Right.
To be honest with you,
just to put it in context, the Buss family is considered a very small fish in the entire, global infrastructure market. If you talk about Rothschilds and Rockefellers, and even some of the new names right now that are shooting off into crazy $100 billion, $200 billion, $300 billion status, and then also quiet trillionaire families. Yeah,
but when I'm speaking about the royal hood specifically, I'm talking about the back end people that, for the most part, look, a lot of the people that you may put faith in, they serve them. That's their royal class. Like I said earlier, my disclaimer is not my royal hood. It's not, I don't descend from these families, right? But I'm just telling you all, when you look to presidential candidates, when you guys look to local political and even activists that you see pop up online, these are their pharaohs behind the scenes. Whether we're talking about the Musk, the Kushners. I mean, even look at Musk being paraded through hip hop. A lot of rappers like, I mess with Musk. I love Musk. He the real one. So you've seen that just in general. So with Josh Kushner, who I believe has a net worth on record, as it stated, of $16 billion. And again, numbers can be inflated, but typically you find that a lot of these people truncate their numbers publicly. They could actually be worth a lot more behind the scenes. We've seen in situations like, for instance, members of the Rockefeller family. What was it? It was it David or Dave Rockefeller, where he said publicly when they announced his wealth, he said they intentionally shrink their wealth to not draw too much attention. That's why they like to put out this list of the top 5 Forbes billionaires, because they don't want the attention on them per se. So at this point in time, what has been going on is that Josh Kushner has been looking to buy up real estate and culture, because remember, Josh Kushner stood by Sam Altman when Sam Altman was ousted at the time from his company. And as a reward, Sam Altman had been giving Josh Kushner a lot of leeway within both of their ventures together. Now, again, Josh Kushner never abandoned Sam Altman, even though Sam Altman at the time was put out of his company, and he helped him back the company up in the long run and put in, like, I think somewhere between $1 to $2 billion. But Josh Kushner also in I think he was one that was put out there where he was trying to buy. He was trying to buy FIFA. All right, he was trying to buy a stake into FIFA. He wasn't trying to buy the entire organization, but he was trying to buy into it. And one of the reason why he's doing this, going around like with the Lakers, he had to divest his interest in the Miami Heat to get acquisition with the Lakers. He said on record basically that because AI is going to quote unquote take over, people are going to value the experience, the real life experience. So what he said basically, he's going to be looking to raise the prices of Laker ticket games or Laker games tickets. And
like Michael Rapino talk about live concerts, raising the prices. So when people go to a live concert, they will have to pay as if they're in the front row of a sports event, a Lakers game, Knicks game, that type of stuff. So tickets going up when it comes to its the ticket sales.
Yeah, and so Kushner's investment firm Thrive Capital headed an investor group seeking to purchase a 20% minority stake for $4.2 billion. This placed an overall valuation on FIFA's commercial enterprise roughly at $20 billion. So this is why you saw him what was it? That was earlier this year. This is why you saw like Josh Kushner kind of being paraded around that time. One thing Sid and I have always kind of talked about, though, when we're speaking about levels of quote unquote cultural royalhood for the public and people and businessmen and women and politicians that may work with them or look to work with them. The reason why you more than likely saw so many celebrities skirmishing around the FIFA World Cup situation earlier this year is not only simply because of Drake, because Drake is a celebrity, all right? A lot of it was having to do with the potential buy-in to FIFA, all right? And giving it more of an Americanization polishment to it at the same time. Looking to sell the culture of soccer to Americans. There are a lot of Americans that are into soccer. There are a lot of children, boys and girls into soccer. I played soccer growing up. Sin played soccer growing up as well. So it's not like it's a necessarily foreign situation, but what they were looking to do, because now we did say that, there's a lot of kind of like a lot of a Hollywood atmosphere dealing with the World Cup earlier this year. Come to find out, the reason why that was the case, because they were really trying to market everything to the American public, selling on it, while Josh Kushner on the back end saying was looking to buy in to FIFA. When the president, I think his name is Gianni, was trying to, he said, well, look, I want to kind of make this a public situation here.
Yeah, soccer is somewhat acknowledged in the United States, but it's not a cultural fixture like it is around the world as football. It's really quite an interesting dynamic because a lot of people be in soccer leagues in the United States, as kids, even sometimes as teenagers, but it's kind of pushed at times as a hobby in the United States instead of a cultural lifestyle and sport like it is around the world as football. When you see a lot of the American businessmen and women as of late in recent years, they've been putting a lot more money into football as a culture and also trying to get more Americans to move out of viewing it as a hobby or something you do as a kid or as a teenager into something that the rest of the world sees it as a serious sport. And then remember, it's global. Football is global around the world. It's people are very passionate. Every fucking country is super passionate about football with the exception of the United States. Although, based off of the recent efforts, it is becoming more popular in the United States now. People are getting more into it. Rappers are talking about it more. More American businessmen are investing in it, especially when people are engaging in the global world. When you're talking to people in Japan, Indonesia, when you're talking to people of China, Brazil, Argentina, one of the ways to really get familiar with people is to also talk about the sport of football, which is again a global phenomenon. So I do agree with you, Prince, that a lot of American business owners, and then also even when you're talking about Jared Kushner, who is Israeli and American, and he's repping for also the state of Israel because he was groomed and grew up under the mentor of Bibi, Benjamin Netanyahu. You do see a major push, and Jared Kushner does have a lot of say so in Hollywood as well, with his connections with the Saudis and all that. So you do also see that angle with it. You even saw Jared Kushner, with Ivanka, with the Carters, with Jay-Z and Beyonce. And not just Jay-Z and Beyonce, again, Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, most of the celebrities.
Ye had his run-in, although Ye was complaining about Jared Kushner with Tucker Carlson because he said he was mad that he got a bigger percentage in the company he helped his ex-wife with than him.
But he did business with him.
He did business with him.
Business with him.
Anybody you could think of have done business with the Kushners. Some of the stories are positive ones, but many are not. People feel like their company has been basically just taken from under them in some cases, and also with his politics and being about just turning Gaza into this, like, he want to turn basically Gaza into like Palm Beach, Florida type of things, resorts, casinos, and then that's another situation as well.
All right, so just so you guys can kind of get in, understanding like how power dynamics run. Okay, so the FIFA president Gianni Infantino proposed creating a commercial subsidiary called FIFA Forward Enterprise (FFE). The entity would control the commercial rights, including broadcasting, global sponsorship, and ticketing for FIFA's major events, including future World Cups. Now, that was what Gianni, and if you guys remember during the whole FIFA run, you may have seen him. He's a bald head guy, all right? And you've seen him move around. One of the reasons why you saw so many celebrities there, it really, honestly, they little stanky beefs with each other didn't mean nothing. So, we always tell you guys, when billionaires behind the scenes snap their fingers and say, hey, this is what I would like for you guys or from you guys, or, hey, do you think you can return the favor by ... Because remember, with celebrities, they're brand ambassadors at best. They're brand ambassadors. So wherever they show up, there's going to be an inflation of price, worth, value, and culture. So this is one of the reasons why you saw so many rappers at the FIFA event.
No, I want to also make something clear too. We're just talking about the ones in America because Rihanna's Rihanna's from Barbados, so she was going to be there anyway. Again, remember, football is a global culture that people participate in a lot outside of the United States. Also with Drake being from Canada. So anybody who's a celebrity from Nigeria or the Caribbean islands or something like that, they already was invested. But to Prince's point, a lot of the people from where we're from, the United States of America, they're getting into it more and more recently because, a lot of their billionaire partners from around the world are saying, you should get more involved in this. This is an investment. This is an asset.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm stating, first of all, America's grandest import besides arms is entertainment. This is why you see so many variations of quote unquote American entertainment or Americana in different countries. B More watches a lot of anime, and sometimes when they want to do like an American accent, the person is always from the South. She showed me. You get what I'm saying? So to Sin's point, I'm speaking about specifically American celebrities, and I'm not talking about anybody from South Africa, Nigeria. We know it's a global front, but to get things on board, you need Hollywood. You need Hollywood. It's a capital of propaganda. That's what it is. Just like you can have influence and power, this is where the intersectionality meets at. The billionaires have the power, they don't have the influence. If Charles Kushner comes out and says, hey, bro, we about to rock white tees, people be like, yo, who is this old man? But if, I don't know, NBA YoungBoy shows up and says, this is what we're about to do, you're going to get a lot of people to do it. It's one of the reasons why I will say for the soccer culture as it continues to penetrate in America deeper since the likes of Mia Hamm to Bend It Like Beckham, I do say for a lot of Gen Zers and older alphas, it's definitely more of a talking point online I've seen. Okay, so people are actually covering things. So this is why you kind of saw a lot of glammed up. You saw a lot of rappers there. You've seen some actors and actresses who normally they don't show up to these functions. But a lot of the billionaires know to make friends with these people because just like they want to, be around a Jay-Z or Beyonce, right? They want to get to know these people. A lot of these rappers and celebrities and singers, they want to be able to say, I know Elon Musk or I know Josh Kushner, or it's a good plug. It's a good network to tap into. Like we showed you guys when LeBron James was golfing on the course with some trust fund babies. So again, one hand washes the other. This is how you kind of move culture around because money can actually move culture at the top. All right, that happens all the time, at least the ambassadors. So
in a more global world, you also have to understand too, to what we're saying is easy to do too now because a lot of Americans are about money.
Yes.
And some try to use culture as like saying they're just passionate about it, but it's usually just about money.
Yes.
I'm not saying that there aren't any Americans who have recently jumped on soccer, which is known globally as football. I'm not saying that some of them don't have, interest culturally in it.
Right.
I think that there are some people from the United States who like to drink yerba and are really interested in football as a culture in sport. But you also have a lot of Americans who are interested in it just as an investment portfolio, and you still have it stuck a bit there. But times are changing, but we'll see what happens. And yeah, Hollywood is definitely a major factor here. And just, having it go further into the international market, even because they want to sell advertisement. So a lot of foreigners said they did not like some of the Hollywood appeal that was added into the World Cup this time around.
Yes, it's very
because
important.
For them, they like a little bit of shows, a little bit of performances, but the football teams and the stories of the football players is what has always driven the love of the sport globally. Some felt that it being overly Americanized with the recent World Cup, some of them felt that they didn't like it because it was too much on entertainment when they feel football in itself is entertaining. Yeah. And so you did have some of that complaints versus some of the people who are from the United States, and this may be their first real introduction to the World Cup. They may see a Pharrell or a Jay-Z or some American artist and be like, oh, well, maybe this is lit, versus everybody else around the world who, they see them, they're like, oh, that's nice, but we're not here to see you. We're here to watch the football game. And it's not against any American artists, because when American artists do global concert tours, people go out, buy the tickets, and want to see them. It's just that for the World Cup, they want to see the football teams and the players.
Also, keep in mind the demo that goes to service these American artists on global tours will be not all the times the same demo that come and they want to see France play, or they come and they want to see Spain play. So, and not trying to be funny, like with a certain rapper, it could be Travis Scott pop out on a stage and people came to see soccer. There could be a good set of folks that don't know who he is. Just like when some global or some foreign global star that, is real big, I don't know, in Zimbabwe and other parts of Europe, and they pop up on our scene, we're kind of like, okay, give you an example. If I showed you Angelique Kidjo, most people would be like, who? But, she's pretty big globally. She's pretty big around the world. She got a new joint with Pharrell. So there was a struggle, like Sin is talking about here. There was a bit of a cultural clash. But, a lot of people, they weren't antagonistic or anything. They just kind of waited for like that, like with Future and Tyler, they want Twyla, I believe that's her name. They wanted, they was like, okay, this is nice.
They're
they was like
a little bit, a few performances, but not as many of the ad commercials. And I will let the global world know, for people who listen to us around the world, Americans don't like commercials either. For the most part, there are few that are historically good, like, ones that are really funny to us. But even in the United States, a lot of United States citizens get tired of everything being too many commercials, too many ads.
It used to be a pastime,
which is why it's interesting that they are now adding it when the World Cup was here. How they added a lot of that, and even in the United States, we don't like it.
Also, that shouts out to Innovator Jay, says same thing he wants to do in Gaza. Jared is also trying to do off the coast of Albania. Yes, there's a big situation going on there, and it's all global at this point. Honestly, Innovator Jay, one thing I will say, sometimes, just hyper individualism, you can lose the understanding. It has always been a global effort, going back since the international slave trades of different groups too, not just black folks. It's always been global. Even if you go back into other philosophies, hell, Genghis Khan, even his creed had a global oath order that he was looking to unite landmass under his domination. It's the same thing what you see with the kings and queens historically in Europe as well, and parts of Africa on top of that. So that's always kind of been a thing. Nishan Lee says, I felt bad for the vendors here in Atlanta during the World Cup. Most of the street vendors paid to be placed in random spots around town. Yeah,
they were disrespected because it wasn't for the vendors. It was for people who are millionaires and billionaires to enrich their pockets more. And remember, as years continue to go by, more demographics and more of the underclass is going to be cut out from even having an opportunity to reach a higher bracket when it comes to their income and finances. So people are going to have to keep that in mind. Also, when we're talking about Albania, people also got to keep in mind Europe is not as united as people think it is. There are actually parts of Europe that are considered to be of lower status still. Even when it came to the royal family, one of their cousins or something like that, nephews or something, tried to marry an Eastern European, and they advocated against it and eventually was able to terminate the relationship. So, the Jared Kushner being in Albania and doing what he's doing with trying to take more real estate, trying to ruin their environment, is definitely not surprising. You even have Dua Lipa, who comes from that part of the world, and she was advocating for the people over there. But with the Kushners and not just them, there are a lot of people who have that takeover spirit that are trying to get prime real estate in parts of Africa, in parts of Eastern and Southern Europe, parts of Asia, the Gaza Strip, and usually they also are looking for groups within each continent that are viewed as outcasts. Even though they try to sell everybody around the world that Europe is a unified front, with the exception of Russia, although many feel Russia is in Asia, but it's supposed to be considered a European country, Russia. But everybody try to paint Europe as a unified front. They're only against Russia, but there are issues within the continent of Europe, even when it comes to Eastern Europe versus Western Europe, and then even at times with the Mediterranean, and even with Southern Europe.
Also, and just to wrap this part up here with this approach, because again, Jared's brother, the younger brother, Josh Kushner, one of the things he was definitely looking to be supremely invested in. He was seeking along with his Thrive Capital. Now, Thrive Capital, if you guys know the history with Thrive Capital and Sam Altman, quote unquote, a beautiful toxic relationship. And Sam Altman rewarded his homeboy by like, hey, man, partner, you and Thrive Capital, when they tried to kick me out my own shit, y'all stood next to me. And he said, I got you for life. We locked in. So they officially locked in, right? But with Thrive Capital, this is Kushner's investment firm, Thrive Capital. was looking to have a percentage of quote unquote cultural real estate with FIFA. Now, governing bodies out of Europe strongly opposed the deal, arguing that nonprofit global football assets shouldn't be handed over to a private equity investor. So eventually there was a threat of a boycott, with the UEFA threatening a full boycott. And now keep this in mind, just because these people are talking about boycott, they have their own corrupt history. All right. But remember what we say is like Succession. They're playing chess with each other. All right. So they had threatened a full boycott of all FIFA competitors, including World Cup, if the plan moved forward, facing potential structural collapse and intense backlash. Gianni, Infantino officially scrapped the investment proposal. So basically, after all of that stuff, and everybody had, ran outside and they told him, it says, look, this is what we're going to do. We'll boycott. We may shut all of this down. He said, all right, fine. Josh Kushner was forced to move on, which, if you read about Josh Kushner, he kind of don't mind. Him and his brother, they don't mind. They'll try, they'll jockey. If they can bend or break rules, they'll do it. And if there's a strong enough resistance, they kind of float on like Galactus elsewhere.
I mean, they always float on also if you're a fuck up too. So if they can't get what they want from you, if you got all your P's and Q's crossed correctly, they'll move on. But they also move on from you too if you fucked up, like the Alexander brothers. Remember, the Alexander brothers were convicted of sex trafficking in a case that shocked the real estate world. I don't know why, but because they had allegations of being sexual assaulters for a pretty damn long time.
Whose world though? Like which realtors? Was it low end realtors?
and Jared was actually pretty close with them. He hung around them a lot, and now they're in prison. But going back to what you're saying, a lot of these people, they keep floating and moving on. The fact that Josh put his neck on the line by defending Sam Altman is telling you where Sam Altman is placed for them. They believe that he's a great splinter cell for the future, even though he is also corrupt, and one can say he also stole OpenAI technology, which a lot of these guys do. Elon and Sam are getting into an argument about who's a thief when both of them are. But according to Nathan Kofnes, they are high IQ.
With Thrive Capital too, Josh Kushner's investment firm plays in a very important role in OpenAI. And also keep in mind, Elon Musk had also contributed $1 million to Sam Altman during his startup phase of OpenAI too. So just because people are initially in bed with each other concerning business doesn't mean they'll try to divorce later down the line, and then they may get remarried on some Elizabeth Taylor shit again.
I'll also say with 39, you definitely are on point with the breakdown and ethnic breakdown of Russia. But I also would say with sex trafficking and gangs, it is prevalent in mostly a lot of countries. Most countries, I would say. Some countries are just better at hiding it than others. It's only in recent time that people in the United States are finally realizing how prevalent sex trafficking is in the United States, from the Jeffrey Epstein files with Ghislaine Maxwell, and how many people in the United States, even American citizens in powerful positions, was participating in a global sex trafficking network. On top of that, recently, I don't know if Prince has the video, but recently 3 men were caught with 163 children. 3 white guys, they were caught with 163 children, one of the biggest busts in sex trafficking history in recent times. And these are like 3 meth head looking white men. So it shows you that there's an international hub of sex trafficking. It's very prevalent in the United States as well, from the poor all the way to the super uber wealthy. And then when it comes to gangs, I would say that too, some countries are just better at hiding it. In Sweden, they have a big issue right now when young girls are doing different types of initiations to join violent gangs. And of course, in the United States, it's like so many different types of gangs in the United States. across the entire United States. I don't even know if I have enough time to name most of them, but I would just say that certain countries are just better at hiding it. There's some countries that have a really great structure where, in the duality of the world, still have this surface world where everybody go to work, 9-to-5ers. People participate in the system, they pay their taxes, and then there's this huge underworld. These children go missing. They're also connected to orphanage and child custody, because a lot of the children that were being also trafficked were kids who were being held because of custody battles. So it's this whole underworld international network within the United States. But because we have celebrities, Hollywood is the biggest form of illusion that can exist ever. So our media, also the everyday people who are participating, who are just working hard, these things provide a cover for the mass, and I mean mass amount of sex trafficking that happens in the United States and even in other parts of the world. So I just think that certain countries just hide it better than others.
Also, Dom says, yep, because UEFA threatened to boycott, which is important because they have the top club players. All right, yeah, I don't disagree with you on that one, and absolutely great points in. We're gonna move along here because I want you guys to understand about the Kushner brothers, what seed they come from. It's their father, Charles Kushner. Now, you guys got to keep in mind, like we talked about this with the Democrats, right? They're telling you, like, oh my God, Jared Kushner, Gaza, Israel, oh my God, Trump, they're Zionists, oh my God, what are we going to do? But then when it comes to Josh Kushner, oh, we love him, he's a darling. Well, you got to go back to the daddy. Now, the daddy was also pardoned by Donald Trump early on. If people recall, Charles Kushner was pardoned by President Trump in December 2020 following a 2004 conviction. Now, why did he go down? All right, it says here in 2004, federal prosecutors in New Jersey, led by U.S. Attorney Chris Christie, targeted Charles Kushner in a federal investigation involving illegal campaign donations and tax fraud. All right. During the investigation, Charles discovered that his brother-in-law, William Shooter, was cooperating with federal authorities. So basically, the Kushner brothers' daddy discovered that his brother-in-law was a snitch. So let me tell you what Charles did. He says, okay, we know how we handle snitches, right? So this is what he does. Charles devised a scheme to retaliate against and intimidate Shooter. He hired a prostitute to seduce Shooter in New Jersey, in a New Jersey motel. He arranged it to be secretly filmed, to secretly film the encounter. He sent the video recording to his own sister, Shooter's wife, to blackmail and discredit him. So,
which was for him, it was a slick move. If his sister had any attachment or still believed in her husband, or fought for him, it creates this automatic split. Even if she still has feelings for him, it's like, not only are you a snitch to the family, but now you're also cheating on me with a prostitute.
Right? So this is their daddy. All right, I want you to understand it. That's the father. Okay? So the father was pardoned by Donald Trump. Again, Josh Kushner is particularly favored on the left a lot of the times, at least the veneer of, the marketing of who Josh Kushner is, the American pie face looking guy. He's cool. Everybody, he showed up on some streaming series here and there for comedic relief. But hey, one hand washes the other. So the father, continuing on in 2004, Charles Kushner pleaded guilty to 18 federal counts, including tax evasion, making illegal campaign contributions, and witness retaliation, because he was looking to intimidate a witness, right? He was sentenced in 2005 to 2 years in federal prison. He served 14 months and paid significant civil penalties. In 2020, President Trump granted Charles Kushner a full presidential pardon. The official White House statement cited several reasons. They stated The White House stated that his extensive record of charitable giving and community service since completing his sentence overshadowed his past crimes.
Well, and this is why, for people who are misaligning themselves in certain things with hip hop media, which is y'all right to do. Y'all can do whatever y'all want. Y'all grown adults. But this is why like Jay-Z, Drake, Kendrick, the rest of them
means nothing.
don't care about what everybody at the bottom is saying.
No,
because you're dealing with the world of criminals and also the illusion of perspective, right? A lot of your biggest corporations and the biggest players in the games are all criminals for the most part. I mean, you could sometimes have a successful mom and pop chain that may be legit. I mean, that can happen, of course. But people who are usually billionaires or high up there in the millionaires, a lot of them are a part of crime networks, criminal networks. And so when people like cherry pick who is a criminal, who is not, like, even what you saw with the whole cocaine cowboys with Penn State, or what you saw with the sex trafficking that was global in the country clubs. Yeah, I mean, rap music is very boisterous about criminality, but it's definitely baked in the cake of America. And this is why your rappers are doing the same thing, whether even at a lower level, but some of them are trying to play in the big leagues, but they're doing the same things as these people. You get caught with your hand in a cookie jar, you just simply try to repair your reputation. You get caught in a sex scandal, if it's not enough to destroy your career, or if there's not enough evidence, you rebrand. If you partner with a company that is against the civil liberties of the everyday people, you try to balance it out for charity. This is what all of the businesses and corporate heads do in the United States.
Yeah, that's why, if we're talking about morality, whether you're talking about Kendrick, Drake, or Jay, I told y'all, niggas, I don't care. I really don't care. Those are small fish. And then, like Sid stated, they're only mimicking their potential cultural predecessors. When you hear somebody that says, I want to be a billionaire, I aspire to be a savage, basically. All billionaires are savages. People that are in the decamillions, centimillions, savages. You have to remember, think about how aggressive you have to be just getting a job in your local area. You have to be able to sell. You got to be able to wine and dine the boss. And then think about when you get on the floor. Sometimes people that are elevated above you is because they have certain connections, a bit of nepotism that goes on the job, just in your own local space, right? Or you have the individuals, they're really savage at kissing ass. They're really aggressive. They'll steal deals from people. I've been in sales before where I've seen how aggressive people have been, where they've tried to steal people's clients, see what your talking points are, your schemes, things of that nature. That's why, to some degree, when I think about hip hop and even hip hop media, some of the stuff that happens that I see, it can be a little annoying, yeah, but overall it's mimicking the behaviors of a lot of the rappers, and the rappers try their best to mimic the Don Trumps. There's a lot of people that they rapping Kushner in their bars. And you got to think about when you're coming out of a situation, and let's be real, like Sid stated, even when we're mentioning some of these people, like, just think about the auspice of what we call rap music today, right? I mean, most of the top guys that everybody, with the exception of J. Cole, they overtly got a savage street culture tied to them somewhere, which is one of the reasons why I felt, sitting now we had our jokes during the battle, but I felt one of the reasons why J. Cole really became such a punching bag, because he didn't necessarily overtly, like Sin and I stated, there's some medicine on that Fall Off album. There's a lot of coded shit, but overtly, he didn't operate in the same level of savagery, at least how the stories lay it out publicly, that we as a culture have been groomed to accept and respect when it is some of these other people. Because keep in mind, for the longest, before he became president, Donald Trump was a staple in hip hop. Ray Shrimmer got a song called "Up Like Donald Trump."
Snoop Dogg loved him.
Snoop loved him. Puffy loved him
until he made a song talking about assassinating him. But I also would add to this though. Don't think we're glorifying this though, because I will want to make it clear this doesn't help any of y'all in the audience.
No, it doesn't.
In fact, it helps destroy a lot of the stuff that y'all want. Even when you look at, there are people in the lower millions who have legitimate businesses who aren't sex trafficking and all that, but it's hard to scale up because when you're trying to scale up beyond a certain level, then you're running into these sex traffickers, these global criminal rings that are just everywhere. It's including your banks, Bank of America, JP Morgan. Your banks are all caught up in that too. So look at Panera Bread. Started in Missouri. People who was health conscious. At first, it was supposed to be a healthy food chain of simple foods. People were saying it was great. And then, in order for him to make more money, what did he do? Yes, he had the fresh bakeries and all that. He sold it. And he got a lot of money. But when he sold it to another company, a conglomerate, the quality of food went down. The bread wasn't baked fresh anymore. And people were having their drinks be just overly caffeinated to the point where people who had heart conditions ended up dead. So that's how it works. You have, think about farmers. There's some farmers who have money. And then you have Monsanto and everybody else trying to bully them. And this is where the public got to have more intelligence. You can like these people or their charisma all you want. It doesn't change the fact that you're getting killed by them, because when things become a conglomerate, so much so where food quality goes down or private equity started to take over and independent venues start to disappear, it's easier for you to be pushed out of markets, A. And B, it's easier for you also to be disrespected, because then these conglomerates are considered too big to fail. They're all partnering up with something, and then becomes like an ironclad gate.
Just to say that, Sin, I want to just add on to what you're stating here. This is what we went over with Krispy Kreme. And remember what I told you guys several streams ago.
Nazi cream?
Yeah, Nazi cream. Well, that sounds nasty, too. See?
That is a gross name.
That sounds nasty. All right,
but it was a Nazi sympathizer who came up with it, though.
Yeah, and then the other side of it, every time statistically it's shown on paper when private equity firms come into the room, the quality of the product goes down, and in many cases you see businesses having to get resold or they collapse because they're not interested in the culture of the business. They're interested in that we saw profit or we saw a cheap buyout, because sometimes they purchase companies when they're at the peak of their success. And then there's a lot of times, as you guys know, when companies are going through issues and they need more backers, then these private equity firms come in and then they make these grand purchases. So listen. Listen, we're not saying because we're going to be on here for 30 more minutes, but what we're saying is for you to be honest. If you want to be a holistic, multimillionaire, I'm able to make my money.
And there are a lot of those out there.
There's a huge, actually.
Yerba, health aid, yeah.
Yeah.
There are health conscious people. They're not up in the billions yet because they're not, in the criminal enterprise, but they are holistic companies who make a good amount of money.
Yeah, there's a lot
annually.
of them. Yeah. So with that being the case, though, it just really depends on. It really depends on where you're going to be taking your energy. Do you aspire to try to be a part of the billionaire culture, because really a lot of people want to be in there for cultural purposes, to say I am a billionaire or I became an ethical billionaire. That
don't exist. So far, I haven't seen an ethical billionaire.
Look, I'm gonna be honest with you all. It's just what the game is. Now, are there people? Because remember, a large portion of middle class, and I'm talking about from lower middle class to upper middle class, a lot of them in the upper middle class, they are millionaires. They may be 10 million a year or whatever the case is. They're not having grand intake.
You could be ethical 10 million in here.
They got you got your,
that's not impossible.
Yeah, like the guys from Guayaki, they make the yerba mate, they do their thing, you got your own, you go to your Whole Foods, a lot of those people that are in that space, you're buying their items off the shelf and they're like, we're making sure that this was not, made, this didn't hurt rabbits and all that type of stuff. But if you're talking about you looking at a multi-billionaire and you think the means have been ethical along the way,
no.
Nigga, Tupac's in Cuba. You out of your mind.
And they have to have a good relationship with politicians, so when they get in trouble, they don't get in trouble.
Right, and that's why they sell you that. Now, I'm not saying if you want to imagine like John Lennon, that's on you. But I'm just telling you,
all the people.
Yeah, imagine all the Negroes, right?
Making billions in peace. Whoa. Yeah. You may say that I'm a dreamer.
No, you're right about that. And the reason why I'm just saying this is because that can help break the illusion. This is why, I'm going to be honest with you, this is why people struggle with the conversations. And I'm not trying to be, I typically see older people in hip-hop struggle with the conversations surrounding Jay-Z. Sid and I said Jay-Z is not the biggest villain in the room, but please, let's stop trying to Santa Claus his image too.
He ain't a good guy either.
Yeah,
he's not a good guy.
Yeah, it's just
none of them are.
We just... The same way we're telling you guys about the Kushner brothers and their daddy, right? It's the same way we've talked about the likes of Jay-Z. And
even Public Enemy sold out. Some of them sell out and they do all right for themselves, and some of them have to flee to Bali.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at your hip-hop A-likes. Look at, like we told you all about Earn Your Leisure when Diddy was up there. They were fascinated with celebrity. And for Diddy to be celebrated, whether you're on the Joe Budden podcast, whether you're with Ebro, whether you're just some YouTuber online making an op-ed piece, for you to say, okay, Diddy brought all the money in hip-hop, he's the man, you also have to accept the savage means of obtaining that money, which also potentially included
black people,
possibly killing and beating up black people.
Yeah.
All right.
Trafficking black people too.
Innovator J says since Trump's first term, the private equity firms done took the mask off. I agree with you 100% because Big Trump have been running around with private equity firms for a minute. Trump trying to do a deal to sell parts of Yosemite National Park right now. Yes, absolutely.
Who wants to sell it?
Right.
Who wants it?
So
too much land.
It's gotta go. All right, but now concerning and again, we did about 20 minutes here extra. We're doing 20 minutes extra here. The only thing I'll say, I'm going to get to the point. We broke down what was going on. Jeannie Bus says, y'all can't sell my piggy bank. What are y'all doing? The siblings are like, force out, and again, that goes on and that's been going on historically. But for the reason why you hear Senna always talk about corporate oligarchs since we started this channel, that's what runs your hip hop music.
That's
y'all on the ground arguing about what MC write they rhymes or not, and that's fine.
Who's owned by UMG?
Yeah, that's fine, but like we said, Triller, they had Kanye West was running around with a billionaire that wore white weave lock extensions in his hair. Bro, this was a very wealthy, it was the same Greek billionaire that told Chief Keef, we putting him on punishment and we took his BMW away from him.
And he's wearing a weave.
He's wearing a weave. Now
He
keep
a
this
cracker with a fucking weave.
Let me pull him
A
up.
man with a fucking weave in his hair. And nobody say shit to him because he worth billions. He look like a fucking crackhead. And all of your rappers are ran by billionaires and private equity firms and conglomerates. Period.
Yeah. Thank you, Sam. Alki David. Alki David was his name, I believe. That's one of them. The other one, let me see. Yeah, no, that is him. Yeah. Yeah, he eventually, and I think this is him. Matter of fact, let me just show y'all something. I'm not gonna let this one play, but I'll just show you guys. This guy here. Yeah. Cause this is what Sin and I talk about. That's why, like, when we have stands that get at us or they get angry or get upset, Sin and I do not care, shawty. You know, because when we started this channel, this is actually who the people we were talking about originally.
And also,
just to keep it real with y'all, but we've always told you guys that's who runs your hip hop. This guy here. Now I'm gonna find some later pictures of him where he's got his weave in his hair.
Yeah, it's like what ASAP Rocky was talking about. Well, they're gay Europeans. What did you expect? When he was talking about what's his name?
Rick Owens.
Rick Owens.
Yeah.
Fashion line. Yeah.
Yeah, Rick Owens. And this guy was the guy that came out. And remember, this was the era when everybody was scared of Chief Keef, right? A lot of rappers were scared of Chief Keef, right?
Man, I'm scared of Chief Keef. Yo, he real nigga bad.
He came out and said, we're putting him on punishment and we've taken his car away from him.
No, these ultra billionaires do treat rappers like bitches. I'm gonna be honest, because you got to remember the dangling carrot. Indeed. Anytime you're chasing after something that's outside of yourself, external, there are some people who are going to use that to try to pimp you, and that's just simple. Yeah. You know, a woman wants more money and stuff. Don't get me wrong. Wanting more resources, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're doing it at the expense of being a lesser human being, that's when you lost the plot. And there are people who are going to be like, oh, you want just money for money or fame for fame? Sure. You know, but go do this, go do that. And that's what they do. And also is a grooming technique in culture anyway. Sometimes they say it builds character, like, you know, films like The Devil Wear Prada. Okay, she's an intern. You know, go get my clothes, dry cleaning. This is so you can learn. In order to be at the top, you also got to learn how to serve first, right? But there's a dark side to that. I mean, you could have niggas running up to get a cheesecake like what Diddy did, or somebody trying to run up in your butt. So you got to be wise when it comes to capitalism, crony capitalism. You have to be really wise when you're dealing with these people, because sometimes it can turn into a relationship where it's like master to slave. And I'm not talking about some black and white shit. I'm talking about like what people just only talk about, the Atlantic slave trade. I'm just talking about a tale as old as time, where you having somebody run your life. They're running your finances. They're running your image. They're telling you what to do, how to look. You saw that white boy with look maxing with Peter Thiel. What's his name?
Cavlicature. I think that's his name. Cavlicature, something like that.
That white boy who keeps getting face surgeries and also lying that he's heterosexual. Like, come on, bro. Peter Thiel is your mentor, and he's pretending
to be at the least bisexual.
Yeah, he's pretending though to be heterosexual because they want, you know, straight young white boys to get into look maxing. But
I mean, it sounds gay.
It sounds
like
disgusting.
voguing 2.0.
Yeah, it does sound weird. But remember, Peter Thiel is into transhumanism. Yeah. He's into human
behavioral modification, and
then also biohacking.
Yeah, basically augmentation, biological augmentation. You know, and that's been for eons, to be honest with you. It's just that the means and the route to with the technology, how they're going to be doing it today. And like Sin is stated here, just to briefly, because then we're going to transition, because we kind of spent about an hour and some change here on.
I think it also goes into what we're going to be talking about with Prodigy. It goes into it too, because that's what he was
Yeah.
rapping about as well.
No sin. You're absolutely correct about that. And I don't know. Sitting out, we just you know we just say what we say to you all. That's why when people are caught up in the fanfare, that's fine and cool. But you know, when you see certain moves being made, you know, like we talked about with the billionaire that's behind the caricature boy, whatever his name is, with Peter Thiel. And
Or even what
you
Peter
seen
Thiel
that,
did with Mark Wahlberg and them. He
yeah.
had a Christian app.
Yeah.
And Gwen Stefani and Mark Wahlberg was on are pushing and advertising a Christian app that is funded and created by Peter Thiel.
because they know each
up.
other. Also, see, look, learn about the Greek billionaire who signed Chief Keef. All right, last October it was reported that Chief Keef was no longer signed with Interscope. However, over the months, Salsa has still continued to release music and small projects. Who was sponsoring him, and where is he signed to now? If at all, the Fader did some uncovering and found out that Chief Keef had been signed to Film On, a controversial live television streaming service since April. The owner of Film On is a 48-year-old Greek billionaire named Alki David, who has accumulated $1.7 billion in fortune from being the heir to a Coca-Cola bottling facility. All right, so for the past decade, he has initiated a variety of projects. It goes on into his portfolio, but this guy here is the one that you see was tied to Kanye West.
He's also a clout chaser too, because remember, in billionaires, not all billionaires are made equal either.
No.
You know, there are a lot of billionaires, lower level billionaires, like the ones in the lower billions that are looked down upon by the ones in the higher billions. And you know who they use as a lick to try to flip into the higher percentage? Rappers.
Right.
Also, since we're speaking about this,
because the rappers also are clout chasers themselves. If they
it runs both ways.
Yeah, because if the rappers run into somebody that's worth $2 billion versus $17 billion, they're going to perform in front of them the same way.
Right, and that's also
I'm trying to get to the money.
Oh, some Meek Mill shit, right? You also have a situation even right now where Russell Simmons out there in Bali, he's been begging. So first, he put out a video saying Benjamin Netanyahu, what he's doing is not genocide. It's wrong, but it's not genocide, and he respects Bibi. Now he's trying to get his butter biscuits with Bill Gates, saying Bill Gates is not the villain. He's a great man. He's helped a lot of black people, and that black people got to stop trying to make white men bigger than what they are. They not gonna let you get off that island, bitch. You can juggle as many nuts as you want. You're not getting off. You're not getting out of Bali. You're just not.
I leave that for the people to talk about. I think Russell Simmons is very unimportant. He actually bores me whenever he comes up because it's very simple.
But it's important
that
the billionaires cut him out. He was always fake. His money.
No, I was just gonna finish a point here. It's kind of very simple. I was actually gonna say that sin too. He's out and he can't produce anything to get him realigned back in. Now you saw how I brought up here with Charles Kushner, how he was sat out and then through Trump, he was swung back in, and then also his children are able to accumulate more wealth. You don't have that nowhere in hip hop.
It would have been harder for the Kushners to be in the space that they're in if it wasn't for Trump getting their father exonerated. And with Russell Simmons, he's an important thing to talk about in hip-hop. He was considered, he can't even get a phone call from the great hippie himself. What's the white guy's name again?
Oh, you're talking about Rick Rubin.
He can't even get a call from Rick Rubin, and they both created Def Jam together. He can't get a call.
One of them is sitting in front of Jay-Z. The other one isn't.
Yeah, can't get a text, no email, nothing.
And they made everybody growing up believe that Russell Simmons had ultimate ranking in power. Think about that.
Yes.
Think about that. When we was growing up, they said it was Russell Simmons, then there was Diddy, and then there was Jay-Z.
They made him think of hip hop royalty. That's why I put it in the context that Jeannie Buss family is not considered anything to the greater global governance of families. There are so many families that look at them like they're just nothing. Just like with Russell Simmons, they had, Black Americans thinking like he was like that guy. He never was.
Oh yeah, well,
no,
when
because
we're
they thought of him
breaking this
as
down,
hip hop royalty and stuff like that. And it's actually kind of funny.
Breaking down, go ahead.
It's actually funny because Trump flirted with the idea a couple of times of trying to do something for Diddy, and he didn't think about once helping Russell Simmons, and they were supposed to be friends.
Well, okay, and just to say this real quick, because and I want to get to, we're going to be getting to this, and also this is him on here. This is the Greek billionaire
with the weave.
With the weave. All right, now
that
remember,
ugly ass yaki weave in his hair.
Yeah. Now again, I want to say this: niggas in hip hop will laugh at you for wearing FUBU. They will go over here and run with this guy. And I'm not talking about the fans.
And not
fans,
laugh at him.
Yeah, fans and I, like, everybody just be roasting in the. We pretty much are pretty consistent with the grooming. Hip hop people that listen to hip hop, y'all are everybody's pretty consistent with the grooming, right? They're like, it's out, we're gonna move on. Not them. They'll say, what was it? Oh, Sin, the clip when Drake was talking about, Trey Songz is so good, right? Yeah. But same niggas in hip hop that made fun of that nigga would go chill with Rick Owens and his wife. That's what we're talking about. So that's what I said. It's bullshit. It's the culture aspects of it. It's bullshit, y'all.
It's semantics. When people make fun of people, in hip hop culture, like certain streetwear or whatever, or how people talk or how they pronounce their words and stuff like that, it's just semantics because most of the billionaires don't know how to talk. Even when people talk about proper English, most of them don't even fucking speak proper English, number one. Number two, many of these people are blue varsity babies. People who were able just to get ahead in universities even though it wasn't based on merit. It was based on their parents having money. And the third thing is, that's why we made fun of Meek Mill bunny hopping or things like that.
It's a lot more than that goes on behind the scenes.
I know, or Meek Mill twerking on that old white guy. But you didn't see us make fun of Meek Mill being from Philly or anything like that. Like, we don't care. No. But the hip hop perspective is really bizarre, where you have some media platforms, they'll try to make fun of people all day for things that are not really that important, but then say nothing about some of their favorite rappers sitting next to billionaire weirdos. Some of them who dress up as doll babies, some of them who wear yaki weaves in their head, some of them who have weird like pedo art in their mansions, some of them who just the rabbit hole of disgusting. It's just a lot. Let's just say that.
Yeah, strange superstitious rituals too. So right now, as you guys know, Josh Kushner and Bob Iger, they're looking to completely secure the deal concerning the Los Angeles Lakers. And again, LeBron James, he jumped ship right before the deal happened. Again, the Kushner brothers, Josh and Jared Kushners, have a lot of your favorites on speed dial. There's a lot. There's a lot of people.
No, that's a great point. Don't skip past that.
Yeah,
if Jared's on the phone, they're gonna pick up that fucking phone.
They're gonna pick up that phone before they pick it up for their mother. Okay. So, with that being the case, guys, we'll continue to look into it. We're gonna transition to someone like Prodigy, who also talked about this as well. And many of it. And you know what's crazy about with Prodigy? When you're talking about hip hop, like, when you get into like cultural royalty, just like we talk about the legendary musicians such as Michael Jackson, Aretha Franklin, Miles Davis, and then we got it in hip hop with Mobb Deep. I do remember during his HNIC2 era that Prodigy was looked at as a hater. He was looked at as a nigga that's just crazy.
Let's stop right there. They thought him the later half of his life when he was putting out that dope music. People just thought he was crazy.
And for me, that's when he became even more one of my favorite
I'm trying
rappers.
to tell y'all, they eating babies in the courtyard. Yo, man, Prodigy a dope rapper. That nigga crazy. Look, even somebody recently, and I appreciate them though, but
Go ahead, Sid.
they was in our comment section on the when we was talking about Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo. Yeah.
And they were like, yo, Thought Crimes, I just thought y'all was just crazy. He's like, I thought y'all was just like weird or he said like fake or whatever. Mm-hmm. But he said, now all this information coming out, he's like, no, y'all was always telling the truth. I'm like, yeah, no reason to lie. You think I want to sit up here and talk about this shit all day? Prince and I got other stuff that we like to do. But even, for example, I'll give you an example. We was gonna move on from also the child trafficking stuff, but then a whole week of just more child trafficking stuff came out.
In fact,
because I don't want to talk about child trafficking all fucking day. But guess what?
It's here.
This is what these people do, and now what people thought wasn't true is prevalent. It's all in everybody's faces. Bank of America, J.P. Morgan, the intelligence agencies, politicians. Y'all seeing every day somebody else falling out of the trafficking closet, from people in Hollywood, from real estate giants. So oh yeah, you're about to play that video. We'll play this right now, and then we get right back into what Prodigy said.
163 missing children have been found during a Florida-led operation that is now being called one of the largest child recovery efforts in United States history. The 163 children ranged from 2 months old to 17 years old. Officials reported years old. Officials reported 46 recoveries through the Tampa Bay region, 41 through Miami, 32 through Jacksonville, 21 through Orlando, 12 through Fort Myers, 8 through Pensacola, and 3 through Tallahassee. Although this operation was organized and led in Florida, some cases took investigators beyond the state. FDLE says that the operation also resulted in children being located or recovered in 6 additional states, Puerto Rico, and 12 other countries. Children were all missing under very different circumstances, so officials said that some were runaways, while other cases involved custody disputes, unsafe foster care situations, abandonment, neglect, abuse, or suspected human trafficking.
All right, so I do remember
Cruel world.
I remember on HNIC2. No, seeing you right about that. I remember on HNIC2, and I had a homeboy, and he said, because I was like, yo, you messing with that new Prodigy album? And he was like, yeah, man, buddy, cool, man. But he said, this nigga talking about, what they doing to children on the island. And he's like, yo, that nigga said they worship an owl. I said, that's the truth, though, nigga. He's telling the truth. That's like...
Because people wanted Prodigy to stay in that whole sexy, gritty lane where he's talking about his interest in women. And we like that. And he's talking about... money and stuff, but the moment he started to show what was behind the curtain, and he said, okay, enough about the glamour and all this other stuff. Let's talk about the real shit that runs the world. Everybody thought of him, like what you said, they're like, oh yeah, P, he can rap, but he fucking Cocoa for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah,
Cuckoo.
no, yeah, and the thing about it is, look, I think I always felt, but nobody knew he was going to die prematurely the way he did, because he died still young, right?
With TMZ mocking him, by the way.
Yeah, TMZ, right? But they won't talk about the Epstein emails. But anyway, but I always felt the later half of Prodigy's career would grow in its mythology, because from Hegelian Dialectic, the Einstein joint, HNIC2, even on HNIC3, the things that he was rapping about, it runs concurrent. And you got to keep in mind, too, every era, every generation, every 10 years, that particular group of eyes, there's an unveiling that happens somewhere. You know, in our era, it's us. We get a chance to see what's being unveiled. Donald Trump is showing everybody what the real game is. To be honest with you, it's out in the forefront. All of this Pluto, Aquarius energy. But in the 90s, you listen to some of the things that rappers were already talking about. Poor Righteous Teacher, Wise Intelligent.
What Ransom is keeping the tradition of, what he's talking about with the Epstein Island and all that,
Yeah, so every so often you're going to see that consistently, where there's going to be the grand delusion or the grand illusion where people are having fun and then something hits the culture or several things hit politics and it forces a veil to drop. It happens all, people wake up and then they go back to sleep. In fact, it was talked about it because people say, okay, there's the great awakening and then there's the great sleepening that happens too. People go back to sleep or they get distracted to other things. Or some people feel like Cyrix from the Matrix, where he was like, you know what, put me back into the Matrix. You have a lot of people that they feel like that a lot of times.
Don't skip past that. And that's important because
so
a lot of people
have that really take place.
A lot of people to what you were saying when they say put me back in the Matrix. I mean, I get it. You know, you want to focus on the fun things in life. With him eating a steak, whether it was real or not, you know, it was a Bill Gates made steak, but for him, look, it tastes good. I don't want to have to deal with all this real work that I just don't have the constitution for. And there are a lot of people like that. They didn't want Prodigy at that time who got out of the Matrix and was like, look, this is what's really going on. They wanted Prodigy to be like their other favorite rappers, the ones that continue with the money and glamour.
Man, why can't you just get with the hip hop boom boom
and the awards and all that, and you know, right now they would want your Prodigy to come out, the streaming, like, you know, and it's unfortunate because I personally felt we got a great duality from Prodigy. I felt like you was able to get the swag, glamour stuff from him, the street tales, in the first half of his career, and then the second half of his career, you got a grown man who was a wise sage of wisdom, and who was literally telling the American people in the global world, but the American people and Black Americans, he went and told y'all the truth. And he told y'all the truth about who runs hip hop, what's going on in Hollywood, what's going on in politics, what's going on with the bankers, and then people try to write him off.
I think it's interesting though, just to say this about with Prodigy. I'm gonna tell you, saying where I saw niggas in hip hop feel some type of way. It's not when he was dissing Jay-Z. Because remember, there's always been, that's why I'm like, Jay-Z, why is he acting brand new? Nigga, there's always been a culture of dissing you since Ether, right? It's just, fuck, it's like, niggas' whole vengeance online, like, oh my God.
Why are they looking at Jay? Prodigy, Nas. Why they looking at him?
Nigga, they've been dissing Jay since Stillmatic. And I'll do you one even better. They've been dissing Jay-Z since the ghost of Tupac.
Even
all right?
the Christian rapper, what's the one with the light skin from Louisiana with dreads?
D1.
D1 dissed Jay-Z.
Yeah, what was it? That big fight where he had Wayne, 50, J, all of them, the big three at the table?
Jay-Z been dissed by a professor group. To your point, they do be acting brand new. Like,
why am I saying it now?
Nigga, they been saying it for over.
They been dissing Jay-Z since Tupac said fuck Jay-Z.
I could argue that Jay-Z has been the most dissed nigga in hip hop. I can argue that.
Since the Tupac,
since Tupac, since the era of Tupac. But I'm gonna tell you where I saw people, the hip hop niggas really get like with Prodigy, and when Prodigy said Nas hide behind the pearly gates, when he was talking about Nas as well, because Prodigy, I think they made up, if I recall correctly.
They
right?
did make up.
Yeah, they made up, right? But at the time, Prodigy was like all of us an illusion. He said not only Jay-Z, but your favorite nigga Nas is up here telling lies, talking about hip hop dead, right? And Nas did say, he clarified, he says, you know what? I don't think I was clear. I wasn't clear enough on my message. And he was saying at the time he was talking to New York hip hop, that he felt New York hip hop was dead. And at the time, if you're talking about what was going on in radio, I think they had like 50 Cent and a few other champions out of New York, but not as much as you start seeing coming out of the South. Also, to let you guys know, tomorrow we will be, speaking of Nas, we'll be talking about Hit Boy, Nas, and JP Morgan. That's who you see in the middle, right there. Big JP on deck. And we're going to get into that conversation tomorrow at 8:15. But yeah, with Prodigy, to be real with you all, when I see all of this, I feel I think Prodigy was probably the last of that energy we got out of hip hop. And I'm just being honest with you. I'm talking about with that level of visibility where he would rhyme Bob Iger, David Stern, the Epstein Island, all of this shit would be rhymed into his verses. And, you know, these are things, and to Sin's point, even on Mobb Deep, the thing about the Mobb Deep records, because they sounded so sexy, the nigga was rapping about this shit in his verses back then. You know, Illuminati want my mind, soul, and body. They got their eyes on us. They watching us. He talked about what was going on with the crime bill. And then he talked about the overlords behind the crime bill, how they want to view black people. He talked about occultism. Even when he went over to trashy ass Alex Jones, he told, and Alex Jones got quiet. He says, yeah, they're using a lot of my people's imagery, my people's teachings, you know, when it comes to running the world. And Alex Jones like, well, what do you mean your people's teaching? He said, I'm talking about black people. All of this stuff we found, we are the foundation of, and they're using. And he was talking about the negative aspects of alchemy. This is what, you go back to Alex Jones' interview. He said the negative aspects of alchemy, things that start off as, you know, pure teachings for the betterment of humanity, can also be used to enslave humans. And that was tough. All Alex Jones did was got quiet. Oh, okay.
No, sure. With transmutation, even with alchemy, it's just changing one state to another. So you can create, for example, technology that is for the betterment of the world, and someone else can re-engineer it and use it to enslave everybody, which is why humans can be very dangerous. And it's definitely hard when it comes to creation, because you always got to try to be overly watchful of what you create because of that. You know, I'll give you an example. There are people who, and this is not to say that Nas is perfect. He's a human being. He got corrupt ways too. But when he came out with Illmatic, very hip-hop, very pure in hip-hop, right? There are a lot of people who got inspired by that album who did a lot of darker themes. You know, selling drugs.
Inspired by Illmatic, nigga.
Yeah.
Don't talk about
Biggie, for example.
beating pregnant women on the train.
Right. Biggie talk about beating pregnant bitches, how he would call them, you know, kids getting sodomized and thrown off of bridges. And yet he was a major fan of an album that talked about none of that shit. So,
it happens.
It happens, yeah.
Yeah, even if you are careful, again, once you put it out in the universe, realistically, you may have a patent on it, but you are no longer the controller of that influence at that point. And I think I actually felt like, even when I used to see it early on with T.I., I used to see like he would kind of wrestle with the concept, or maybe the question wasn't posed to him correctly. But when he says, I'm not your role model, that's fine. No matter what you think, you still have an influence, though. If people keep saying these things, and like we said, we're visible. Everybody has influence on everyone. Somebody walk in the room, they make you uncomfortable. It influences you to shift your body a certain way. Sometimes when power walks in the room, your supervisor walks in the room, you speak a certain type of way, you move a certain type of way. So to be amplified on the microphone, which these are amplifying devices that we're on, or to be put in front of a screen, or the silver screen, the mirror, and that's a magnetizing, amplifying tool in itself.
That's why that
Batman
Batman
do have to keep in mind about, look, I do influence people somewhere.
Where he's like, vengeance. He's
yeah, he can't say the vengeance.
No, and to Prince's point, and even what I'm saying, you could be as careful as you want, but you're gonna have good and evil people be influenced by your work. I mean, the only way you could not have that is to not create at all.
There you go.
And humans are about creations, but yeah, you're gonna always have bad and good people be influenced by whatever you put out there.
Yes,
You could just try to be as balanced and try to have as much wisdom as humanly possible with whatever you put out.
There you go. I mean, you could have somebody listen to what Sin just said, and they get on the microphone, and yeah, there could be bad and good, just like what the Democrats are trying to do to black people. They're bad. You see what I'm saying? It don't matter, and I think as long as like you got to understand like what am I actively pushing for, and then you kind of got to get out of your ego because like. People are they're gonna run with what you say. They're gonna run with what you do. It's just what it is. You just got to be able to protect yourself. I think it's going to be very important not only for you to manage how you influence people, but also it's going to be very important for you to have defense against others' influence. I think that's very important. So I just Sid and I, we wanted to kind of cap off at least where we saw with Prodigy. We didn't know the man personally. I think again. I liked all of his music. Sin loves all of his music. I think he had a pronouncing influence. I do find one thing Sin and I have said overtly. We do find it interesting that energy or some of the subject matter he talked about has always been in hip hop. But I think with the further pushing in with these billionaire guys like Josh Kushner and all them, you have less likely of rappers to rap from those perspectives at this point.
In the 90s, it was everywhere. But after when the Diddy era really blew up and Diddy was all in bed with all these billionaires, it was dying down. And a lot of rappers were going completely corporate, and people were surprised because Prodigy was one of the few people he went the opposite direction.
He did.
Think about it. People thought, Prodigy was going to be wearing, some Diddy suits, that he'll go out there, be all about the money and all that. But at the time where he could have done that, he went in the opposite direction.
Even Jadakiss had on that Tin Man suit.
It's true.
It's crazy.
Jada is a fire MC, but he even had on the shiny
that Wizard
suit.
of Oz shit.
Yes.
Them niggas up there dressed like the Wizard of Oz.
Well, all about the Benjamins, baby.
Yeah, but
all about the Benjamins. What?
Yeah, all about the Benjamin. No, you're right. All about the Benjamin. Here's the Queen Bee. Bzzz, right? No, the furthest that we've seen commercialization with Prodigy was in the G Unit era. And even on those albums, like, he still has some joints that had to get cut from albums. Even think about that. Some of the stuff he was rapping about, Interscope still was like, we're going to have to cut this from the album now. So that just was intrinsically within him. But I don't know, maybe you guys could direct us to that. I know there's a few guys we've seen that rap about that type of stuff, but I don't really feel that energy.
They cut the songs that are the most important.
Yeah.
And that they have the power to do that.
That's what it is.
And that they comply.
Yeah.
Which is why I was happy when Prodigy stopped complying and started just to put out the cuts he wanted to put out. Oh, man.
The Hegelian Dialectic, HNIC2, Einstein, them some of my favorite rap albums. But yeah, a lot of those guys, you just don't get too much of that energy anymore. Like, I'm not saying to rhyme exactly like them. So when I bring these artists up, I want the hip hop heads to not talk about rhyme scheme, because sometimes you bring them, they be like, yeah, but nobody can flow like them. But no, just the subject matter: Cannabis, Razzcast, Prodigy, Killer Priest, aspects of Corrupt's discography, because there's parts of Corrupt's discography where he's talked about some of these things as well. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wind it up. We're going to wrap it up on this note. Gave you guys a little bit of a history of the Kushner family, gangsters moving around. And again, like we stated, this Trump administration, we told you guys this will be the external phase of Trump. And the previous era of Trump, we know a lot of people was talking about they was going to get money with him this time around. And we did say, guys, for some of them, you were supposed to get your money the first time with him.
You missed your opportunity because the Zionists, and not only them are locked in, but a lot of the conglomerates, they locked in. Y'all locked out. See, Trump is a himbo. Whoever gets to him is whoever gets what they want. If you notice, there were a lot of people from all sets of corporate corruption who was able to get what they want from Trump, the first administration. Some of them can't get in contact with Trump anymore with his second administration because they have been completely locked out. And now you have people like Laura Loomer and, Vault and
It's more extreme.
other people who have all the way locked in, they're more extreme, and you can't get in contact with him now. And they have say so about who's in his inner circle and all that. So you miss your money crumb window of his first administration. But shout out to all the independent artists out there. Shout out to Brandy Kane. Shout out to also London LB. Make sure you support his music. Shout out to Hersey. We have the link to Hersey and their music. Their website is in the chat and it's in the description box. And we're going to also close out to Big Baby Gandhi.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, peace.
Yeah, we in Gotham City, baby. We in Arkham Asylum, baby. This my bitch. Revenge of the nerds in this bitch. Let's get it, Gandhi, Gandhi. Ha ha, ha ha, ha ha, ha ha, ha. Yeah, I'm from hell, where the sidewalks smell, and the neighborhood boys got something to sell. I was 9 years old, rocking Egyptian musk, selling rose incense off of a cardboard box. Pack it up, run if you saw some cops. Play it off cool, see some kids from school. Damn wish mama had raised a fool so I could be a happy dumbass just like you. Status quo, yo, I'm not like you. Or fuck with the hashtags you jerk off to. Woke politics, you use fake as shit. I'm from New York, I just say suck my dick. Gotta keep it real, yo, it's kinda bad right now. Way it is outside, yo, it's like my heart right now. Way it is politics, like relationships. Way it is economy, it's kinda like my bank account. Either way, everything make me feel bad about. 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 I object to the capitalist state. I hate corrupt government politicians, that's fake. I don't trust corporations with my tax money. I know not to fuck with goofies that act funny. Yeah, millions of children living in poverty. That's not my priority. I'm just trying to rap it, please. Don't gotta be angry to change things, but we should overthrow the government, rearrange things. Main reason being everything kinda suck. What you have to lose, man, you don't even like your life. 10 people have all the country's wealth. We don't have to kill him, but we can make him kill himself. Probably, yo, it's Big Baby Gandhi. They never showed us Bin Laden body. 6 is the earth, 7 is the godly. Divested from the economy would be timely. Gotta keep it real, yo, it's kinda bad right now. Way it is outside, kinda like my heart right now. Way it is politics, like relationships. Way it's economy, it's kinda like my bank account. Either way, everything make me feel bad about. Either way, everything make me feel bad about. Either way, everything make me feel bad about. Either way, everything make me feel bad about.
Thought Crimes. Thought Crimes.
Get that son of a bitch off the field right now. Out. He's fired. He's fired!
And I sing because I'm free. His eye is on the sky.
Thought Crimes.
And I sing happy. And I sing happy. And I sing happy. And I sing
Thought Crimes. We are all the same. We are all the same. More group
Coming through your airwaves. All right, now I'm here to kick the ballistics. Check out Thought Crimes. Are you following me? Coming through your airways. Coming through your airways. You ain't gonna get me with that one.